Imagine if Amazon was hidden in a super secret part of the internet, and instead of selling you Alexa, it sold you, well, let's just say, more stimulating products. Meet the dark web, the underbelly of the internet where Googling is a no-go and where cookies aren't just after your data, but maybe your soul. Right, back to our tale. Among this maze of online mischief sat the Silk Road, an underground eBay but minus the vintage Beanie Babies and with more, illicit enhancers. Ahem, for legal reasons, we don't endorse or suggest that any of this is a good idea. Just saying. Meet Ross Ulbricht. No, not a pirate, but the alleged captain of this digital ship. And by ship, we mean illegal underground marketplace. Think of him as the Bezos of the dark web but without the rocket ship. Ross dreamed of a free market utopia, minus the taxes and plus the recreational herbals. So, what was on the shopping list? Well, 70% narcotics, 20% is this even legal, and 10% seriously, what is that? The Silk Road was the one-stop shop for anyone looking to buy things you couldn't exactly discuss at the family dinner table. But as they say, all not-so-good things must come to an end. And in a series of events that involved fake IDs, the feds, and a library, our pirate Captain Ross's digital ship started to sink. As for the legacy of the Silk Road, let's just say that while the site has sunk into the digital abyss, the ripples it created in online security, government surveillance, and the sheer audacity of what the internet could pull off, well, that's still creating waves. So, the next time you're late night shopping online, just remember, some markets are darker than others. And no, they don't accept coupon codes. But, oh boy, was there more to Ross than met the eye. Like all superheroes, or, in this case, perhaps anti-heroes, he had an alias. The Dread Pirate Roberts. And no, he wasn't swashbuckling through the Caribbean, nor was he out seeking revenge for a loved one, a la Princess Bride. But the drama? Oh, there was plenty of that. Now, while most of us choose online pseudonyms like Sparkle Kitty 123 or Taco Lover 98, Ross opted for a title that seemed straight out of a fantasy novel or a 1980s cult classic. But what was he doing with this mysterious, alluring alter ego? Was he rescuing damsels in distress? Was he fighting off internet trolls with the skill and agility of a master fencer? Nope. He was running an underground marketplace for every conceivable illegal knick-knack you could think of. Let's take a moment to truly digest that. Imagine Batman, dark, brooding, with all that cool gear, deciding, crime fighting is a bit mainstream. I'm going to open an underground Etsy shop instead. Yes, instead of a Batmobile, there'd be a Batcart. And instead of facing the Joker, it'd be the occasional irate customer upset about shipping fees. In Ross's world, instead of a parrot on his shoulder and a wooden leg, there was a computer mouse and some serious coding skills. The high seas? The boundless expanse of the dark web. This was not your typical pirate story, it was piracy 2.0. So, hats off to Mr. Ulbricht, who managed to combine the thrill of the age-old piracy with the complexity of the digital age. All while making us question our life choices and our own online usernames. After all, who needs to sail the 7 seas when you can surf the web, right? So, here's Ross, when a eureka moment hits him. Hey, he ponders, twirling an imaginary evil genius mustache, what if people could get their shady goodies as easily as they grab their Uber Eats? A sort of Amazon Prime for the morally flexible, if you will? And thus, in what might have been a caffeine or fermented tea-induced haze, the Silk Road sprouted from the depths of his mind. Ever heard of a place where you could get a tad more than just those boring household goods? Enter Silk Road, basically Walmart if Walmart had a rebellious teenage phase that never quite ended. Now, of course, you have the classics, the illegal narcotics, the I swear it's only for medicinal purposes plants, and the I just need it to relax pills. But wait. There's more. It's like one of those late-night infomercials where they keep throwing in extra goodies, except these aren't exactly steak knives. Ever wanted to travel the world but, oops, lost your passport during a wild night out? Worry not. Silk Road had you covered with all the fake passports you could ever dream of. Maybe you're thinking of redecorating and feel those counterfeit bills would give your place a certain je ne sais quoi. Or perhaps you've been binge-watching too many crime shows and wondered, how hard could it be to hire a hitman? Hint, on Silk Road, not that hard. Also, please seek therapy. It's as if Amazon's people who bought this also bought section got a sinister makeover. Oh, you're into fake IDs? Might we suggest this lovely assortment of counterfeit euros and a guide to changing your identity? But, hey, don't mistake this for your average dark web shop. Silk Road was special. It was the embodiment of go big or go home. Why stop at just drugs when you can be the Costco of contraband? The supermarket sweep of the underworld, in essence, it was the place where you'd go thinking, I just need some illegal fireworks, and leave with a cart full of how did I end up with 3 fake IDs and a mysterious powder? Truly, capitalism at its finest. Or darkest. Moving on, and, of course, like every bright-eyed and bushy-tailed millennial entrepreneur who's watched The Social Network one too many times, Ross probably envisioned himself as the edgy, hoodie-wearing disruptor of the underworld. Move over, Zuckerberg, there's a new visionary in town. He'd exclaim to his houseplants, his most loyal confidants, but here's the fun part. Most startups aim for headlines like, next big thing in tech, or revolutionizing Industry X. Ross? He got those headlines all right, but they were more along the lines of, hey, FBI? This guy, right here. In trying to make the world of illegal transactions as seamless as tapping for next-day delivery, he did change the game. But remember folks, not all game changers get the endgame they anticipate. Look, every kingpin has their golden era, but even Scarface ran out of face to bury in white powder eventually. And Ross, for all his dread pirate Y ambitions, was, shockingly, human. And humans goof up. Did he leave a digital breadcrumb trail Hansel and Gretel would be envious of? Absolutely. I mean, using your real email address for Silk Road-related shenanigans? Ross, my man, Gmail is for spammy newsletters and are you still alive? Emails from distant relatives, not dark web dealings. Remember that time you forgot to clear your browser history and someone stumbled upon your How to Dance Like Napoleon Dynamite search? Embarrassing, right? Now magnify that 100-fold. That's Ross, except instead of an awkward family dinner confrontation, he's got the feds on his tail. Okay, let's give credit where credit is due. The law enforcement agencies aren't just there twiddling their thumbs and hoping for the best. When they smell something fishy, they turn into the very Sherlock Y versions of themselves. And what's their version of the game is on? Operation definitely not called Sneaky Sneak but should have been. Undercover agents went shopping on Silk Road, and it wasn't for Aunt Muriel's knitting patterns. We're talking fake drug deals, shady rendezvous, and so many aliases you'd think it was a family reunion for spy films. The patience game was real. Like waiting for your bread to toast but for months, and the toast could potentially put you behind bars for life. Now, when you think of a massive dark web overlord getting caught, you'd expect helicopters, SWAT teams, dramatic slow-motion action sequences, and maybe a cat looking all surprised somewhere in the background. And, you know, a setting like a fortified castle on a stormy night or an underground lair hidden behind a waterfall. But, nope. Ross's takedown was as dramatic as ordering a latte. Picture this, a public library. Yes, the place where you'd shush your mate for laughing too loudly. Ross was diving into the deep, dark abyss of the internet surrounded by grannies reading romance novels and toddlers playing with pop-up books. It's like if James Bond were caught while perusing the self-help section. Imagine, being the mighty dread Pirate Roberts, building an empire in the shadowy corners of the web, only to be caught between fiction and non-fiction. The whispers of "Is that the guy?" as someone borrowed a cookbook beside him. Priceless. Simply put, the feds caused a distraction once they knew Ross was logged into an admin account, and swooped in to steal the open laptop as to avoid Ross locking the device. In all, Ross's rise and capture reads like a dark web version of Cinderella. From rags to riches and back to rags, with the feds playing the role of the midnight chime. And instead of a glass slipper, they found a trail of rookie errors. But hey, at least the story got its twisted fairy tale ending. Well, the saga of Silk Road wasn't just your typical flash-in-the-pan internet news that gets forgotten after 2 meme cycles. Ross's digital empire turned out to be the Breaking Bad of the online world. Everyone loves a story that sounds like a Netflix drama, right? The Silk Road showcased the hidden alleys of the internet, making us all painfully aware that right beneath those cat videos, there's an alleyway where you could trade those cats for contraband. Kidding! But it did shed light on the internet's yin and yang. For every recipe blog, there's a, well, Silk Road. You better believe the next online marketplace has already taken its place, this time with lessons learned in mind. What was the lesson? The internet, not just for Facebook stalking your high school ex anymore. It was a stern wake-up call that WWW might also stand for Wild, Wild West. Fast forward, the dark web is practically throwing parties with neon signs, inviting people to its mysterious corners. Copycat sites? Check. A wild sense of bravado that says, catch me if you can. Double check. It's like when one cafe opens in the neighborhood, and suddenly, there's a coffee shop every 2 meters only. These shops aren't selling caramel lattes. As for our main man, Ross, he's got a lifetime to think about his life choices, ideally while not doodling ship and pirate hat sketches. But hey, everyone wants to leave a mark on the world, and Ross sure did. A tad illegal, but a mark nonetheless. So here's some unsolicited advice, folks: if you ever venture online with grand ambitions, try Etsy. At least if you end up with a pseudonym, it'll be something cute like Beady McBeadface. And there it is, folks, the wild digital carnival where pirates don't swab decks but click mouses. Here's to staying on the right side of the web and maybe, just maybe, leaving the dark alleys to the stuff of legends. Cheers to the digital adventures of the 21st century. Stay quirky, stay legal.